to the King James Version, where each and every week my friends Alan and Adam recount Bible stories from their childhoods to me. I've never heard them before. My name is Nick.
I'm Alan.
And I'm Adam.
Alan, thank you for being here. I wasn't sure that, I thought that maybe because of Alan's recent celebrity, he may no longer choose to be on this podcast. Maybe increase your fee.
You've likely seen me. I'm very internet famous.
Front page of Reddit.
Not only front page, number one.
Number one.
Yeah.
Yeah. For giant protective eyeglasses for my wife's office.
Yeah, if you saw an image of what looked like very big Ray-Bans.
So we bow down to your internet prowess and your gilded status on Reddit.
Hit us up on Twitter for me to add silver to your Reddit post. And, we will do it. Because I was given Reddit money, which is...
useless.
Chuck E. Cheese. It's not even as good as Chuck E. Cheese tokens.
Is there merch you can get?
No.
I don't know.
Like, could you get a Reddit t-shirt?
I don't want a Reddit hat.
I know, but like, I'm just trying to think if there's any value whatsoever beyond like, look at my number.
Be careful what you wish for too, because the post that somebody will ask you to gild is going to be like on the Dragons Fucking Truck subreddit or whatever.
Okay, cool.
I'm fine with that one. There are a few others that I'm not crazy about, but yeah, Dragons Fucking Trucks. Into it.
Okay.
Hit me up. I will give you silver.
Into it like that dragon is in that truck.
By hit me up, I mean at KGV Pod.
Yeah, we're going to Purple Monkey Dishwasher this gilded status.
I don't understand that reference, and I don't want to.
Okay.
So this week, we're not only talking about Alan's Reddit celebrity, we're also talking about Hosea and Gomer.
Which is funny because Adam suggested this and then immediately was like, I don't remember it very well.
To be fair, I said, Alan asked for suggestions and I gave him that. And then I came back with a couple of other suggestions and Alan was like, nope, we're sticking with Hosea and Gomer.
I said the name John.
You did?
Yeah. Nick suggested John.
Was that not anybody?
That's so many. The problem is that's so many buddies.
We've covered the Baptist.
Oh, yeah, right.
And we've mentioned the disciple and we've mentioned the revelator.
Right.
We're at Trace John.
Is there a book of?
Yes.
It's like 4.
The book of John is the kind of the fourth in the ones that tell the story of Jesus. Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John. John being the one that I think we've talked about is more poetic and less story rich.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Well, someday we'll talk more about John.
Yeah.
If I get this wrong, cut it out. But isn't there also a first, second, third John?
The problem is I'm not sure enough to say no. First John, second John, third John. I think you might be right.
Yes, there's 4 Johns.
There's more Johns.
Whoa.
Yeah, there's fucking 4 Johns. All right.
So what you're saying is it was a good suggestion.
It was too good of a suggestion.
Yeah.
It's like saying, oh, I suggest we talk about God.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, like John being the cliche popular name, it also is in the Bible.
Yeah,
I wonder if that's why. Like maybe the
probably
prevalence of how many books people are like. Well, it's so many books. We must name our firstborn.
So we're not talking about John. We're talking about Hosea and Gomer.
Yeah. Which one of those is a lady?
One of them is a lady.
Correct.
One of them. What do you think?
Well, I mean, I am led to believe that Hosea would normally be, but I am, because of your tone, going to say Gomer.
Gotcha.
Well, Hosea is...
Nailed it.
Correct. Hosea is a man's name. Well, historically a man's name. That came out very, gender rigid.
Yeah.
For boys.
Oh, tell us more, Adam.
It is
boys.
a blue name. And
Gomer's a pink name.
Correct. Whatever.
Great.
Except for Gomer Pyle.
Except for Gomer Pyle. Yeah, it's kind of funny because the only Gomers I know outside of the Bible have been traditionally male names. Mm-hmm. Also, Gomer doesn't... I know that every culture has different associations with different sounds, but Gomer, I don't know. It feels... it's not a great collection of sounds. Very guttural.
I mean, I do think that Gomer Pyle is definitely the archetype that ruined it going forward.
Right.
He has a terrific Christmas album, though.
Does he?
My mom was a big fan.
Jim Neighbors, not Gomer, the character. Yeah.
He has a wonderful singing voice.
That doesn't surprise me.
They come in used all the time, and I almost always put them in the dumpster.
That's reasonable.
That's fair.
Yeah.
So this
I think maybe, and you can cut this out, maybe outspoken early, I'm putting this in air quotes, gay icon.
What?
That
maybe.
Wouldn't surprise me. But a lot of caveats on this episode.
Oh, alleged relationship with Rock Hudson.
Okay.
All right.
That'll do it.
So not necessarily just an icon.
Gomer and Rock.
Whew.
He married his partner 38 years, Stan.
Great.
Oh my God. That's so sweet.
Yeah.
Jim and Stan.
Wow. So, early-ish celebrity.
For sure. I mean, like,
absolutely.
Well, the fact that he got married, like that insinuates that like he was very early.
Yeah.
Huh.
Well, this has been Talking Gym Neighbors with Adam, Allen, and Nick.
I mean, we've talked about weirder tangents on this podcast.
But yeah, so the story, it's very short. So I don't think...
It's a short book.
Lay it on me.
So Hosea is one of the prophets. We talked about like Elijah and Elisha being, and Hosea's later down is one of the, like, so they break the kind of latter half of the Old Testament. Do we even talk about the Testaments? There's the Old and the New Testament.
Yes.
So basically Old Testament is
pre-Jesus, post-Jesus.
Yeah, exactly. The Old Testament, the latter half is broken up into the prophets, the major and the minor prophets. Elijah and Elisha being the major prophets and basically everybody else being the minor prophets.
Okay.
And I can't...
Distinction being...
They're short books. That's like literally it. They're super short.
Yeah, they're short books.
Okay.
And they're just, it's arbitrary. That's the word I was trying to come. It's kind of arbitrarily about like celebrity. Like these two were important. The rest of these guys had one or two things that they said.
You missed quite a few major prophets, but whatever.
Who else is a major prophet?
Ezekiel, Nehemiah, Jeremiah.
They're considered major prophets?
Well, yeah, they're not part of the minor 12.
In all honesty,
the last 12 books are the minor prophets.
For some reason, I honestly thought it was just Elijah and Elisha were the major prophets, the rest of the minor. But
okay.
I will
backpedal a little bit because I know that the last 12, starting with Hosea, are like the 12.
Yeah.
Like they're often referred to as like, these are the individual books of the New Testament and then the 12 because they're all super short. So I don't know if that's the minor prophets or if there are additional minor prophets to the 12, if that makes sense.
Man, it's not the distinction I was hoping for. I was hoping that the major prophets would be like bright and cheery and the minor prophets would be a little sad.
They are all
None
sad.
of them are. Yeah. Okay. There is no major in that. Like everybody is a
and
depressed.
I will say reading the book of Hosea,
not great.
It's a bummer.
The whole. So here's the thing.
It's unpleasant.
So we were talking about before how like Alan was saying it's kind of a metaphor. Hosea's life. So the reason Hosea is included is his life is literally a metaphor for the nation of Israel at the time.
Upcoming. Prophetic.
Kind of, but also like current.
Well, Hosea was written during the last. So before we get to the story, Hosea was written kind of the last of like the good times.
Okay.
Before the exile into Babylon, which we've talked about quite a bit.
And they were exiled a couple of times. So I think the first exile, right?
This is like, so Daniel is actually right before this like books wise.
Right. But it's actually
Daniel, Hosea, but it'd be flippity floppity.
Yeah.
And because Hosea was during the time of Jeroboam the second.
Oh, we talked about
who is the great grandson of Jehu.
Okay.
This is important.
Okay.
It'll come up.
Okay.
Man, they kept.
But
that's insane.
Just for reference, since we've talked about Jehu.
Yeah.
And remember like all the like bloodshed and killing of the idol worshipers.
Totally.
And so that's what kind of like, 3 generations later sets up Jeroboam the second. Things are going well.
Great.
Hosea's like, not for long.
We kind of talked about this a little bit too. But when Saul became king, so before Saul became king of Israel, Israel was basically run by a series of judges. I think we talked about that a little bit too. And the people basically said that everybody else is a king, and so we want a king. Mm-hmm. And God was like, no, it's a better situation politically if you have this series that like it's a better, like more than one person being in power is better than just a single source of power. And Israel is like, well, it's more popular to have a king, so we want a king. And so God's like, fine, fuck it, here's Saul.
Yeah.
And then this might actually be like Americana projecting against the monarchy.
Well,
but there's this idea that was the point where Israel began this kind of like slow descent and demise into being eventually taken over by Babylon or exiled to Babylon. I mean, I don't know if did you get that in?
Sure. Technically subservient to Assyria, which was
right.
Assyria was conquered by Babylon.
Sorry. Correct.
But
you notice I'm trying to say.
Yeah, you're not wrong.
But anyway, so it's like, this is near the tail end of that, like Alan was saying. And so basically God tells Hosea, I need you to model what the nation is going through right now so that they can look at your life, go, well, I don't like how it plays out in this microcosm, so we will change our ways. Mm-hmm. So God directs Hosea to go marry a prostitute.
Go take yourself a wife of harlotry.
A wife of harlotry.
A wife of harlotry.
And children of harlotry.
And children of harlotry.
Yeah. Some of for the land children.
For the land has committed great harlotry.
Correct.
Somebody's got a word of the day calendar.
Yep.
Right. So Gomer is either the best prostitute or the most available. It's unclear on how Gomer gets chosen.
Sure.
But Gomer is the prostitute that...
The most harlotous.
The most harlotous. the most exemplary of harlotry. And so Hosea marries her and then proceeds to have this like horrendous life where not only is like the insinuation is that Hosea marries her and he assumes that she's going to stop her whoring ways and is continually disappointed because she keeps leaving him whoring about.
Harlot's got a harlot.
Coming back, apologizing. And because God has told him, he has to take her back.
Uh-huh.
And basically he has
you can take Gomer out of harlotry, but you can't take the harlotry out of Gomer.
Correct. So like, we're not getting into like sexual politics or like, slut shaming, any of that, because there's a lot of problems with this from that perspective.
Wonderful.
But from the like Adam and Alan grew up as like little Christian boys perspective and all harlots are evil. We'll just kind of leave that as
sure.
What happened is Hosea basically has a ruined, miserable, horrible life of disappointment and painful experiences so that the children of Israel can look at his life and go, whoa, this is us. We should change our ways, and don't.
But sort of, but also be like, but God will take us back.
Right. Yeah.
Do we get examples of the shitty life?
Not really. It's not as good, but
the examples are more just like,
she remember?
Left, he's sad, she comes back, they think it's going to be okay, she leaves, he's sad.
Yeah.
Do you remember his children's names with Gomer?
No.
Because they're fun.
They are I remember them being ridiculous. Gomet?
That would be honestly so much better. So the first one, least bad.
Okay.
A son, Jezreel.
Oh, that's a good one.
Which was the valley where Jehu slew both kings. Shot him so hard with an arrow it went like through him.
Yeah.
Okay, so bloodshed. Fun. Daughter, Lo Ruhama. But it means...
Lo Ruhama sounds like a greeting. Like, Lo Ruhama.
It means unloved.
Oh, fuck.
Wow.
Jesus.
Yeah. or pitied one.
Apologies on two levels for us both dismissing this name and also for this name. I mean, dear listener, if you are named that, I've never met one.
Yeah.
Like, doesn't this feel like you're like a politician's child? I mean, like they basically were like politicians' children in that, like, you were always in the spotlight. Everybody knew who Hosea and like you're like as kids, but like you're not only did you have to live through your parents' like marital problems being a political and like ideological like banner.
Yeah.
Also, we're going to name like your name is also unloved because you're
pitied one
mm-hmm. as like, I'm assuming that it wasn't Hosea, like just like declaring his intentions. I'm assuming it was an object lesson.
Because God will no longer have pity on the northern kingdom, Israel. Remember, Israel and Judah are kind of separate.
So it's essentially like you naming your kid "fuck Canada."
Sure, whatever.
Or like, like it's a weird political, like, I'm just trying to think of, like,
who's our current prophet right now?
Oh boy.
Or like Meghan Markle's first kid, they named like Down with Scotland.
Okay.
I don't, you know what I mean? Like,
or just,
I'm just like, it's a terrible thing.
Unloved.
And these kids are forced to be prostitutes. That's a part of this. Oh, I thought it was.
No. As in children of harlotry, not children.
I see. That they also have to be. Yeah.
And then another son, Lo Ami, meaning not my people.
Okay.
Because
so these kids,
the kingdom would be
perfectly
shamed.
fine.
Yeah.
Just all these kids, just emotionally stable for the rest of their lives.
You gotta hope your name's Jezreel, the Bloody Valley, apparently.
Right.
You gotta come up with a cool nickname if you're those kids,
I guess, or you just lean into it.
Yeah, you got to hope early on that you spill some scented markers and everybody calls you black licorice for the rest of your time on this planet.
Although, I mean, like, unloved and what was the other one?
Not My People.
Not My People. That's some pretty goth shit. I mean, like, you could...
Yeah, totally. Yeah, you've got a good, like, songwriting career ahead of you.
Going to your therapist, you're like, you know, like, I've introduced myself. Do I need to like, unpack?
Although, to be fair, you've also got a good songwriting career ahead of you if your name is Black Licorice.
That's true. Oh yeah, for sure. Different style of music.
I should mention that he bought her for 15 shekels of silver.
Oh, bought her too. So there's
for some Reddit money, I guess.
Yeah.
I don't know how much. Oh, and 1.5 homers of barley. He bought Gomer for 1.5 homers.
Mm-hmm. Homer is a unit of
barley, apparently.
Okay.
That's actually a new one. I've not seen that. But this is a fun. It's chapter 3. Then the Lord said to me, "Go again, love a woman who is loved by a lover and is committing adultery, just like the love of God for the children of Israel, who look to other gods and love the raisin cakes of the pagans."
Wait, God was like shaming the food of the other gods. Like,
I mean,
they give raisin cakes.
Fucking raisin cakes.
I love an oatmeal cookie.
I mean, that is a little bit like...
Don't you fucking dare put chocolate chips in my oatmeal cookie, though. That is treason.
You know what? Fuck raisins.
You said you liked my cookies. I made oatmeal chocolate chip cookies.
In an oatmeal cookie, I'm expecting raisins. However, even worse sin, don't put raisins in my chocolate chip cookie.
Yeah, I'm with that on that. That's
I'm
just
speaking
rude.
directly to you.
Yeah.
Grandmothers.
Yeah, all grandmothers.
Yes. Chocolate chip cookie means walnuts, chocolate chips, and raisins.
Grandmothers of our podcast, do not add us.
Right. Also, walnuts are optional.
Walnuts are optional.
Mm-hmm. I'm not going to like shit on people who like walnuts in their cookies, but
it's whatever.
I could leave.
Chocolate chips and raisins is cruel because you don't know what you're getting.
Yeah, that's just mean. It could be a rat turd for all you know.
I mean,
never thought about it. Now I will.
Yep.
Harsh words. I know your grandmother.
I love you, Grammy, but like you don't need to put literally every ingredient in your cupboard into your cookies. That's the thing, though. That's her fault. Like she's a wonderful woman, can't choose ingredients for cookies for shit.
Coconut and everything.
Yeah.
Why do grandmas got to do that?
I assume it's got to be
like coconut.
It's got to be a depression thing where like we have the options, so we will take advantage of the options because we didn't have the options at one point.
Well, yeah. I feel like that's also a compost cookie is a popular form of cookie.
See, this is the thing. Compost. If she was making compost cookies, it'd be fine. The problem is every cookie is a compost cookie.
Right.
Sure.
All ice creams are a compost ice cream.
Okay, let's get into that.
Grandparents love Goo Goo clusters, which is basically compost ice cream. It's the same concept.
I mean, I do like ice cream with a lot of stuff in it, like a Ben & Jerry's sort of thing.
You want some chocolate, some marshmallows, some nuts, some coconuts, some chocolate swirls, some caramel swirls, some like everything.
I'm kind of into it.
All right. Not my thing. Marshmallows and ice cream is also just weird.
Marshmallows is weird.
Yeah, that is the downfall of fish food for sure.
Oh, it's fish. I didn't. Yeah. I'm Stephen Colbert's American Dream. Pretty solid on the Ben & Jerry's.
It is very good.
Do you have a favorite Ben & Jerry's? We have drifted so far from Gomer.
It's a short story.
We've drifted a little ways.
Mint
chocolate cookie, I think, is my Ben & Jerry's.
Oh, all right.
I'm a mint boy.
For those of you in Washington, if you can get the Mukilteo Mud from Snoqualmie.
Disagree. The chocolate from Acme, way better.
I love Acme's across the board. The Mukilteo Mud from Snoqualmie is my favorite chocolate. Just
disagree to disagree.
Did you say you disagree to disagree?
Yeah. He doesn't want to do it.
Yeah. I agree with you on no level.
That's fair. No, there was something about Gomer. This whole thing I was going back to. Hold on.
I got nothing else.
So this is it?
There's like no fun facts either.
You know, this is basically like there's not. That's the story.
Of the my only fun fact is of the 12 minor prophets, he's the only one from Israel.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
And so the moral here is
if you are. Oh, I know what I was going to say.
This book is pro sex worker, I guess.
We made fun of like the raisin cake thing, like because it's ridiculous. But that's not that dissimilar to people choosing to go to a different church because they have a coffee bar.
Sure. Yeah. I'll worship Baal for raisin cakes.
Right. Like,
sounds great.
it's because this is the thing. Like when Alan and I were kind of
fucking
about the time that Alan and I were leaving, like
cow idols and raisin cakes.
Some churches would have coffee. Some churches wouldn't. Some would have like an espresso bar. Some would just have like a really old shitty drip system.
Our churches were still arguing whether to have drums.
I've heard stories about churches doing that and like trying to one up each other and churches like preparing way too many refreshments like regularly aspirationally for like the hundreds of people that they would prefer show up, and then just throwing everything away like on a weekly basis, and people working there and volunteering or whatever being like, 4 people are going to enjoy this, and we're going to throw away 106 servings of whatever.
It's also awesome because like they didn't choose something that you could donate to a food bank. You know, like
right, exactly.
Anyway, that was a thought I had. Is like we were laughing about the raisin cakes, like that God was like shitting on the raisin cakes. But
I really want a cookie now.
I've gone through all the cookies. You gave me some cookies. We had another. Yeah,
If you had fun refreshments at your church growing up, you should contact us.
Totally.
No, I'm actually interested to know like what the weirdest like non-church perks. You know, like
non-religious perks.
Like, what did your church do to like try to get
the lures
to trick people into coming?
I mean, are we including like lights?
You can wear jeans.
Oh yeah, jeans are a big thing.
You know, like coffee bar, jeans, drum sets, cookies.
Sure.
Theatrical lighting.
I wanted to specifically focus on food, but I'm also interested in hearing about these sweet drums.
I know. I feel like we're opening up an entire world for Nick that he's like
always.
I'm sorry.
Always in a glass cage.
Cool. Plexiglass, but yeah.
Yeah. No plexiglass.
Well, they're just ahead of the curve.
No play.
Yeah. Even at the loud churches, we would still have a plexiglass shield.
Now, preference would be electric drums.
Depends on whose preference.
The people who run the church / sound guy.
Correct.
Right.
Always a sound guy. Jesus, those guys were like sound guys. Like churches are where like sound guys get to be gods. Cause like it feels every time I've like done a gig where a band is playing, like the sound guy can yell at you, but you're like, we're the reason they're coming. But like at churches, they will just like turn you off, literally like just mute you. Sorry, I'm exercising some issues.
I mean, I do feel like that is just sound guy personality.
Totally.
I know many lovely sound guys.
Where would we be without our sound?
This is where Alan chooses to be diplomatic.
My 2 favorite sound guys, both named Paul.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And our sound women.
Not a lot of them.
Not a lot of them.
Not a lot.
It's because they're smart and do better things.
Avoid it.
Also, sound guys are such like misogynistic assholes most of the time.
Except for the 2 Pauls.
Except for the 2 Pauls.
We like our Pauls.
We do like our Pauls.
If you...
There's no way either of them are listening.
No.
If you think that your church had rad snacks growing up and you want to tell us about it, you can record a voice memo and send it to us at dearjesus@kingjamesvirgin.com.
Either spelling of dear.
We want to hear about those snacks.
Yeah.
And I guess a drum.
Yeah. If you want to talk about your drums, that's cool. I think that's it, though.
Great. We'll be right back here on the King James Virgin. And we're back here on the King James Virgin.
Hey, thank you so much for listening. You can follow us at KJVPod on both Twitter and Instagram to keep up with us. This week, if you're wanting to spread some good karma, please post one of our Instagram posts to your Instagram stories. Maybe one of your friends will watch one of our promos or our sick black and white photos.
They are so sick.
So sick. And decide to give us a listen. And and that means you don't have to like.
These are actual black and white photos too. They haven't been inkwelled or mooned.
Correct. I guess they have been like
black and white
digitally altered, but
no. Alan processes all of these in his dark room.
His dark room.
Yeah,
okay, correct.
Scans them in to Instagram.
Correct. Yeah. We had to get that special Instagram scanner. Thanks to Mascaras and Resurrection Records for the use of our theme song Kicksadi off the album Emoran. And this week's Resurrection artist is Lacord, spelled with an E. Don't get it wrong. You can find links to these songs, to stickers, all sorts of stuff on our website, kingjamesvirgin.com.
That'll do it for us this week. Until next week, name your kid something nice. I don't even care about normal, just like not something that means something awful. Adam, I will give you $1. I'll give you a maximum of $2.
Oh, wow. Okay.
For if you are able to name either one of the most popular girl or boy names of 2020 so far in the top 8, let's say.
Top 8.
You get one guess each. At least 3 of the boys' names are, at least 3, to my knowledge, which is slim, are biblical.
Okay.
For boys.
I was just going to go with Jonas.
Ooh. Nope. No.
What do we got for biblical? What are those 3 that you were?
Oh, so the ones Noah, is number 2.
Noah.
Benjamin and Elijah.
Dang.
Number 1, though, is Liam. Girls' names?
Henrietta.
Emma is number 1.
Wow.
So, use those or don't.
We're cycling back to shitty,
course.
boring names.
Always. Totally.
Not to say that your name's Emma, you're
that,
shitty.
I don't think that any of the top 8 girls' names are biblical. But
where's Bosco on that list?
Bosco, number 166.
Perfect. Thanks.
Sounds come from nowhere, voices descend on you. But in the desert night, voices have bodies too. Bodies need water, bodies need food, bodies need names if they escape you. And we escape you too. And me, and they, and G. The lab works through the night. This is desert night. We're building towers and it's signals unto the night. We're building towers and it's signals this time. We wanna find the light to the end of this divide. Want to erase the marks in the sand. Signals, 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 signals. Saw something on moonlight in the sky of phone tonight. We saw a new light. Reminding of ships, reminding of boats, thoughts on sand and new ways to float. Something in the sky tonight. This took this life for war of the world's end. These sounds from nowhere descend again. We set up 6 suns, we set up 6 moons to mark the lights in this desert night. We're building towers and it's signals unto the night. We're building towers and it's signals this time. You wanna wipe away the light of yesterday. We wanna erase the marks with the sand. Signals, 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 signals.
Produced by Sonic Bazaar.